Hi, my name is John Donahue. I'm a current junior at Fordham University, majoring in finance, and I'm also an incoming restructuring consultant at FTI Consulting.
Hi, my name is Martin Chen. I'm currently a senior at Columbia University and majoring in the applied math and finance. And I'll be incoming analyst and Wells Fargo CIB.
And yeah, today we are here to show you our case study on Altice USA, going through their capital structure. So yeah, let's get started. So yeah, just kind of giving you guys an agenda of what's going to be going on today. First, we're going to start with our business overview, then moving on to our valuation, and then finally our strategic alternative and our recommendation for Altice going forward. So yes, like I said, our business overview. So starting at a high level, Altice USA, or also known as Optimum Communications, is a top five U.S. broadband and telecom provider. Their business segments are broken down to four major things. First, you have your broadband services, which provides high-speed internet to residential and commercial customers. And then their video and live streaming services, which offers pay TV, on-demand video programming, and then also streaming platforms. Third is their business services and wholesale, which provides broadband, voice, and managed network solutions to enterprises. And then finally, you have kind of their miscellaneous items or offerings, which are their news and advertising services. And then you can see in the bottom right, we have some of their operational statistics showing their sluggish revenue, or actually negative revenue growth, and then their thinning margins.
And here we mapped our situation to the industrial peers. And as we can see right now, for our target Optimum, we can see the current leverage ratio based on the EBITDA is around 7 times, and the interest coverage is around 1.8. And compared to the peers, it's relatively low interest coverage and it's relatively high leverage ratio. And also, if we look into this debt maturity by year, we can see by 2027, we have around a 7.5 billion debt here, million debt here. That's comes to mature. And so this is a classic situation for over leverage and the impending maturity wall.
Yeah, like Harlan mentioned, looking at Altice's capital structure, you can clearly see that the company is very over leveraged. You know, shown on the left, they have 25 billion in total debt compared to their equity, which is just under a billion. I mean, as you can see on the right, equity only makes up about 4% of the capital structure, while bonds, term loans, and revolvers make up the other 95%. And then looking at their coverage and leverage ratios, their leverage ratios are very high and their coverage ratios tend to be very low, which is a clear sign that this company might need to go into restructuring. And we have a plan for them, which is what Harlan is going to show you now.
And looking into this company's capital structure, like John just mentioned, and we can see here, the senior debt is actually the main part of our debt structure. And we have a small amount of the junior debt, and the equity values kind of get squeezed in this capital structure. And so we kind of come up with this plan, like based on this current capital structure, to reorganize this capital structure through negotiation. And here we're going to do is to convert our senior debt and the senior notes into equity and do a classic the debt equity swap. And then for the junior debt, which is like a relatively small portion, we will for part of it, financial leases, which is like multi-period, we'll just also convert into equity. And for the supply chain financing, we'll just use the current cash to pay down. And for the revolver, we also pay down and keep the structure in our capital structure. And after our reorganization, we will see our equity is actually getting significantly enlarged, and then we will also add in some appropriate the leverage, which is by 5 and 7 years senior loan and senior notes to optimize our capital structure. And on the right, we can see the source and uses, and we have balance sourcing uses by refinancing our old debt and introduce our new debt in our capital structure.
So then moving on to our valuation analysis to kind of back, our new plan. If you look at our football field valuation for total enterprise value, we're looking at a range between 20 to 35 billion. Currently, Altice's market cap is only around 1 billion, but we think, our idea aligns with our valuation because you can see that this is what this company should be valued at, but because of their over leverage and kind of poor market sentiment, they're very undervalued right now. Yeah.
Yeah. If we go back to the valuation part, just, yeah. We have like used like present transactions, of course, and also the public comps. And for the public comps, we actually sort of do a really granular approach and trying to divide it in the three different groups here. And there's a mid-size like some telecom providers, and there's based on their industry, Altice is in, and also we have the major the telecom providers that which match like the size of the artists, and then we also have some foreign telecom providers, and here we really like have around in total 9 comps and around 9 to 10 comps, and trying to be as granular as possible. And here we can see actually the median is around the 2.3 EV over revenue and the 6.4 EV over EBITDA, and they come out from our public comps. And so Artis is trading relatively below the peers due to its leverage and kind of weak free cash flow. And in terms of precedent transaction, the median EV over EBITDA, as we can see here, is around 10 multiples. So it's consistent with like infrastructure heavy peers, and the implied artist value aligned with kind of like also lower to middle range due to the high leverage and the relatively slow growth compared to the peers.
Yeah. Then moving on to our liquidation analysis, just kind of going through the balance sheet and how much we can make of it. With cash, accounts receivable, we're going to get between 60 to 80% of those. And just kind of moving through it with how leveraged this company is. There's just insufficient funds that are going to be able to cover their almost 26 billion in liabilities, which as a result is going to lead to no recovery in equity, and these unsecured creditors recovering less than 10%. And we think that this approach is definitely something that would not work for Altice. Yeah. And then finally,
Yeah.
just kind of ending with our recommendations, Harlan is going to conclude this and let you guys know what we think they should do.
Yeah, so according to our evaluation earlier, and actually we haven't talked about the discount cash flow yet, and the discount cash flow actually according to the model me and John made, and we have the DCF implies around the EV range around 28 to 32 billion, and assume around 8.7 WACC and 2% terminal growth, and everything we did pretty standard for the DCF, pretty conservative. And the implied equity value is around 24 billion, and the shares around 2.3 to 3.5 per share, and it's around the 30 to 35 premium to the market. So actually that actually support our reorganization viability, undergoing concern the assumptions. And so here we see the waterfall analysis, and so waterfall analysis here we can see the as we see like our EBIT after our reorganization is in a relatively like a more flat turned, but since we will pay much less interest compared before. So we will have like a relatively like more cash flow there. And our distribution value here in the three different scenarios is around the 25 billion. And here we will see in lower cases, and we'll have the recovery ratios for the credit facilities and the senior secured notes, senior guarantee notes is all around 100%. And till this senior notes, and which is like the kind of like where waterflow ended. And in our middle cases and high cases, and our recovery ratios almost just 100% since we have relatively enough cash flow and the distribution value to put the distribution value for our waterfall. And yeah, and so that lead us to our recommendation based on our waterfall analysis. And since we can deliver a near full recovery for senior and guarantee notes, and versus the materially lower recoveries in our liquidation cases. So according to the best interest, we will definitely recommend it the creditors to we're definitely recommended to the debtor to go down the path to negotiate with creditors and to do a reorganization instead of liquidation. And post reorganization, the capital structure is as compared to before the seven times the leverage ratio, we get a drop down to around 2 to 3 times the leverage ratio, and the interest coverage is significantly boosted. So based on that, we recommended here we can actually see there's different viable passes. And of course, at first, we also think about some kind of financial restructuring in court. And of course, like the liquidation task that we did for Chapter 7. And but however, I think out of court negotiation will be most viable and bring the minimum effect for our brand and also for the post reorganization recovery. And yeah, so here, I mean, based on the several points we talk about, these maximums creditor recoveries, restores leverage sustainability, it preserves long-term enterprise value. So I think this is a faster path and easier and also avoid the cost and the stigma that brought by the liquidation. And so that's why we highly recommended this approach for reorganization for our targets, clients, artists, USA. And that's pretty much our recommendation.
Yeah. No, I mean, we just wanted to say, thank you guys for taking the time to listen to our presentation. And we're confident in our, full extensive model that we have, that our recommendation is best for Altice. And we'd love to discuss this more in the final, the final live round, of this case competition. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.